going to cut Jamar Chase?
I am.
I'd agree with that.
You gotta fight for your right to party. It's hard to beat the showmanship of Travis Kelce.
I had to go between Bud Dupree on the left side and then TJ Watt on the right side. And bear in mind, it's my first padded practice in my life.
Yeah, I told you I do have some news to break.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is going on? I'm Mac.
And I'm former Pittsburgh Steeler, CSW.
And welcome to London to NFL.
In this show, we'll be joined by the NFL's biggest stars, its biggest fans, and we're talking about everything going on around the sport. From gaming, to music, to fashion, and everything in between.
And today we are joined by sports broadcaster and NFL analyst, the one and only Olivia Dekker. Olivia, how are things? How is living in the UK compared to living in the States?
Well, don't tell my American compadres, but we are very, very happy here. My whole family, we were just catching up about, living here. My husband, we have a baby. We are so comfortable here. And it has everything we love. It has all the sports we love, and it has everything we need. We just feel really at home here. And our family can come visit anytime. So it's really not that far.
I mean, it's still a solid 7-hour flight, isn't it? Because you're originally from Kansas, did you say?
Yeah, Kansas City.
Kansas, London. What's the difference in Christmas? Because obviously you're going to spend Christmas here now.
What about Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving?
What did you do for Thanksgiving? There's nothing here.
We hosted a Friendsgiving with a bunch of our British friends, and it was their first Thanksgiving. And it was very cute because we got to walk them through it of what we do, all the traditions, why we even celebrate. We were like, well, it's kind of funny because it's all these English people who came over to America to celebrate and what they were thankful for. I was like, so it's kind of ironic now we're doing the reverse. But Thanksgiving, maybe we get a touch homesick because that's such an American holiday. But Christmas, there's nowhere better in the world to celebrate Christmas than London, England. And that's why we have all these visitors this whole month. After we finish, I'm going straight to Trafalgar Square. I'm gotta get my Mrs. Claus hat on and just start playing tour guide because we have so much family in town.
How did you become a Green Bay fan growing up in Kansas?
Yeah.
Great question. So my dad's from Green Bay. His dad was the president of the Packers for 20 years. And then my dad still calls their preseason games. He's a play-by-play announcer for CBS. So he does network TV all year, but he still, just for the love of Green Bay, does their preseason games. And then I covered them training camp and preseason. It was one of my first jobs out of school, about 10 years ago. That's 3 generations in our family have worked for the team. But I think it starts with the pride of what my grandpa built when he was the president. They're the only team without an owner.
Yep.
So the president is kind of the owner de facto. And so he brought in Brett Favre from the Falcons. He hired Ted Thompson. He hired Ron Wolf, the GM, before that. They won a Super Bowl, beating the Steelers, too. And before that, the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So, I'm just really proud. And then his biggest claim to fame, and here I am just completely bragging on him, but I'm so proud of my grandpa. He oversaw and started and funded from public tax dollars and everything the stadium renovation.
Oh, wow.
So
and it's an incredible stadium as well.
It's
Lambeau
incredible.
Field. Had the honor of playing there. It's a different kind of
And that's a bucket list, yeah?
Yeah, huge. Home of football.
Yeah. And that's, everything. Everything from the door handles to the brick outside to the way the tunnel comes out, he dreamed up in his head. And he had to rally and get it to pass for a city tax, which in Green Bay is such a working class town. It's a factory town. There's not money to spare. And he got hate mail in the letter. Him and his wife, my grandma, they sometimes wouldn't be served at restaurants, or people would come up to them and say, how dare you try to impose this tax? And he has since the renovation happened and the stadium was built, had people who said, I voted no for the referendum. I'm so glad enough people voted yes, because it saved our city. It kept us a team, because the team was going to leave.
You and your father became famously the first father-daughter duo to call a regular season game. Talk me through the emotions that you went through and how that actually felt, because that must have been some sort of dream come true.
It was. So that was 2018, and it was a Monday night game at Lambeau. It could have been any assignment, and then they were like, by the way, it's going to be in Green Bay. And we were like, oh, get out of here. You guys are messing with us, right? I feel like this is a simulation. This is a movie set. I grew up at Lambeau Field, running around as a kid, up and down the stairs. When my grandpa was president, we'd sit in his suite and just watch these games and bring coloring books. So that now I'm coloring a game there. So that in itself was very cool. And then to do it with my dad, and we are just we're thick as thieves. I'm one of 4 kids. And I'm the only one in the family to go in the business, so it's always like our thing to talk about. So it's so fun. That was really cool. That was a regular season Monday night game in 2018. Packers won. My mom was there in the stands. We all went out for a big dinner after. It was just like a memory I'll never forget. And then we made history again in 2021, I believe, the first father-daughter duo to call a playoff game. And that was at Arrowhead, where I'm born and raised. And so that was amazing. And I was pregnant with our now 1.5-year-old. And so just the whole full circle thing, I was like, okay, here I am. Like, this is my baby's first NFL game in my belly. But now here I'm calling a game with his grandpa. And like, you can't make this stuff up. So it was very cool. And then, I told you I do have some news to break.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did. I was just about to say, you've got some more news to tell me.
We're gonna be making headlines again. We're gonna make history again. So my dad does the Monday night broadcast for national radio for Westwood One and the Super Bowl. And I'm gonna get this wrong. I think it's his 15th straight Super Bowl he's called, but he's the longest running Super Bowl announcer. Jack Buck had the record before him, and now my dad does. And so he does the game every year, right? This year I'm going to be doing it as well because I'm calling the game for Sky Sports, doing the pregame. I'll be down there on the field. I've covered the Super Bowl for years in other capacities with different networks, but always the week build-up, never the game. And this is my first time actually on the field doing the game, and my dad will be up in the booth calling the game.
That's incredible.
It's just nuts. First father-daughter duo to now call Super Bowl.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, don't clap.
no.
That is incredible.
Like,
That definitely does.
We are the lucky ones. We keep saying, he was my first call when I found out, and I was like, what are you doing in February? And the first thing he said too, he's so sentimental, and like I said, we're so tight. The first thing he said was, we have to get a big dinner the night before. I was like, okay. We'll carbo load and go over our depth charts. You got it, Dad.
So the NFL has traditionally been a bit of a family affair. So
Yeah.
you mentioned the Kelsey Bowl last year. So I'm going to give you a few different families. I want you to rank them.
Okay.
Blind rank. So that means you're not going to know what's coming up next.
Okay.
So you've got 5 slots, 1 to 5. The first family is the Kelseys. Where would you put them in terms of impact, legacy?
Blind rank is quite difficult. Ooh.
And you have to kind of guess where we might go, who might come up.
I think I know some brothers who might be coming up. God, they're so top of mind. Travis Kelce should go down as one of the best tight ends of all time. I mean, Tony Gonzalez is right there stat-wise, but you'd hope he goes down as one of the best Chiefs tight ends of all time. So I feel like his legacy of what he's done for that one franchise his whole career, winning all these Super Bowls, it's hard to fight with that. And then that they played each other in a Super Bowl. I don't know, maybe I should put him higher than 3. I just don't know who else is coming. 2? Should I put them at 2?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Uh-oh.
The next family you've got are the Bosas. So.
Oh, gosh, okay. God, and the Watts are probably coming up, and the Manning.
This is the thing you need to start thinking
Yikes.
about.
Okay.
What about multiple generations in the league? Just to throw that in there.
I'm with you. Then now I'm wondering if you're going to throw like McCaffrey at me and like that's a father-son.
We are limited to 5.
Okay.
So
Okay. Marvin Harrison's coming up. I'll put the Bosas at number 4, just because I feel like the Kelseys deserve more credit.
Okay. Fair.
Don't clip that. Bosas are great.
Okay, next up, the Mannings.
I'm going to say 1.
Okay.
Because both winning Super Bowls, obviously, both being like the first person you almost think of with each franchise, and then Peyton with 2 franchises. I think I've got to say the Mannings are it, and then you add in the dad, and then you add in now the next generation at the college level. I just think that is America's first family of football. They've
And
got
also
to be one.
the Manning cast, best thing
And
to
the
hit
Manning
TV.
cast is the best thing on TV, yes.
Yeah, so they took the top spot.
Top spot, yeah, I'd agree with that.
I can't imagine you throw someone better at me, but let's see.
That's true. The Watts.
Yeah, so there's them too. There's them too. God, do I put him in front of the Bosas? Okay, you have multiple defensive players of the year in this family tree. You've got 3 sons playing in the NFL at the same time.
Seems to me, what was TJ like on the Steelers?
Well, the only reason why I kind of got good at football remotely was because I had to go up against TJ Watt every single day, and it was a long day's work every single day. First day in pads in training camp at the Trobe, I had to go between Bud Dupree on the left side and then TJ Watt on the right side. And bear in mind, it's my first padded practice in my life. I'm going up against the future Defensive Player of the Year, and then Bud Dupree on the other side, and then throw in Cam Hayward just for fun.
Had a tough day.
It was a baptism of fire. I wouldn't have had it any other way though. It was good.
Oh my gosh! When you look at overall like body of work, do you feel like TJ is going to surpass JJ?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think just because they're obviously different players, but going up against him in practice every single day, even if it's a walkthrough, he's practicing his moves. Like I know there was that Hard Knocks where JJ was after practice on the dummy and like working his moves, but even in a walkthrough, TJ was like on the detail. He's getting guys to put together stat sheets for different quarterbacks' cadence, so he'd be able to get off the ball faster. And then just in terms of a high motor competitor, like that guy can play. He epitomizes Steelers football.
Great answer.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay,
Such a
Watts
good-
at
let's go up.
3, but
Okay.
he got a 5. I'm now nervous. They better be rubbish.
They're good though. And there's a Green Bay connection, the Sharps.
I guess 5.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
You've
Just
got a Hall of
because
Famer in there.
I
Oh, yeah.
know, I know. This is a terrible game. Yeah, I guess I just feel like, again, I'm thinking Super Bowls get the Mannings and Kelseys up there too. And then the Watts, like we said, Defensive Players of the Year, lead the league in sacks. Like they've got all this decoration as well. I'm going to stick with my order.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with my order. Someone's going to tweet me something about the Bosas. I definitely forgot. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Bosas. You're
Probably.
great.
I like the order though.
I was
like
going
the
to say, do you
Yeah,
agree
yeah.
with the order?
I like
No,
the
I like
order.
the order. I do
I
like
like
the
the
order. In terms of
Is
impact
it
and
recency
legacy,
bias with the Kelseys? I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because also you got the blockbuster Hollywood storyline
I
matchup
know.
with two brothers, Super
That's the
Bowl,
thing.
Don and
Yeah.
Kelsey,
The mom,
Kelsey Bowl.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how many times has that happened?
yeah.
Right. So, Olivia, the next part of the show we're gonna build up your starting lineup.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you some NFL archetypes, and you're gonna tell me what player fits that archetype best.
Okay.
All right, so first up is the showman. So this is the flashy player, the one who's charismatic, everyone loves, the one who gets the crowd going.
Travis Kelce. How about when he takes the microphone when they win the AFC
Yeah.
Championship? You gotta fight for your right to party. It's hard to beat the showmanship of Travis Kelce. In fact, if anything, I think he's turned it down this year because of all the Taylor Swift attention. But he is a showman through and through. It's got to be Kelce.
100%.
Okay.
And with the WWE wrestling belt
Yeah.
coming out as well. Yeah,
And what he
brilliant.
called the mayor of Cincinnati. said,
Oh yeah,
you-
that was
what's
brilliant,
it-
that whole exchange.
What's
I can't
the word
remember.
I'm thinking of? It's a wrestling term.
Was it jabroni?
Jabroni.
He called him a
Yeah.
jabroni. that
Yeah.
was brilliant. That whole
Yeah,
exchange was...
He's not scared of anyone. He doesn't care what people think of him, and people love him for it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right. So next up, you've got the locker room leader. So this player's vocal point is he sets the tone for the team.
I'll throw you a bone. Let's say Jalen Hurts, because everyone on both sides of the ball love him, and he always seems cool, calm, and collected. So what a great leader, a guy you want to go to war with. And I feel like he is enough of a rah-rah rally guy, but he also just is like ice in his veins. So I'm going to say Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I feel like he's got such a good mentality when it comes to winning. Like, he just wants to win.
Yeah.
I love
Nothing
the...
else.
I
He
love,
seems unselfish.
It doesn't matter how we win, is as long as we win.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he had to justify the fact he wasn't celebrating too much because
Yeah.
job's not finished.
Job's
Right.
not finished.
Job's
See, that's
not
a
finished.
perfect example, though. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, the dark horse. Who do you think at the moment in the league doesn't get the respect they deserve? Who's flying under the radar?
Okay, I'll do Packers quarterback Jordan Love for my dark horse. He was so, dismissed. And when you look at his stats through his first 12 starts, they're equal or better than Rodgers' first 12 starts. And people don't realize that. In fact, he has one more win than Rodgers in his first 12 starts. So I think they are a team to bear in mind here as we get into wild card picture. And I think they could win the NFC North now that the Lions are deciding to end their season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's my dark horse.
Do you think Jordan Love's the quarterback for the future?
Yeah. Why not?
So Jordan Love is your dark horse.
Yeah. I think he's got swagger. I think he sat behind one of the best to ever do it for so long. Aaron has been, Aaron's such a funny guy. So anything you read of him saying about Jordan Love. You'll read between the lines, but I think in general he had a lot of love for Jordan and love for Jordan. But yeah, I think he tried to do his best to take him under his wing, and so I think there'll be more traces of Aaron in his play than we realize.
Yeah. So next up, we've got the trash talker.
Okay, here's a good one that also feels recent. 49ers, Deebo Samuel. He shows up in Philly
And he
wearing
backs
all
up.
black because it was going to be an Eagles funeral. He shows up all the trash talk leading up after last year's game. Even they lost in the NFC Championship in Philly, and he was talking smack. Like, now, granted, they were on their third quarterback by that point. Like, things were bleak. They were held to, 7 points in that game? But he still was just like, okay, licking his chops for next year. And they got revenge in Philly again just a couple weeks ago. And but he was really talking some trash. But also he kept saying, this is in good fun. We have a lot of respect for Philly. Like, this is going to be a team we see again. So I love the way that storyline played out, though.
That's turned into a great rivalry.
Hasn't it?
That was such a good game.
Such a good game.
Okay, last one up. The locker room joker. Who do you think is the funniest player in the NFL?
Okay, I'm gonna use a recent one as well. When we were in Frankfurt, we had the Colts game. Colts win. It was 10-7 over the Patriots. It was a horrible final score. And in the locker room, Gardner Minshew, who's now their backup quarterback, he's starting. If you were to walk in here, no one would know he plays in the NFL, right? If it took you a second. And he's sitting in the locker room, and I'm with all of our Sky Sports cameras, and there's media everywhere, and we're trying to get our player to interview. And Gardner's just sitting there. He's got, his handlebar mustache. No one's really approaching him. Now, granted, he'll go to the podium, so he can't do a locker room interview anyways. But I'm sitting there, and I'm like, Gardner, point me out. Who would be a really good post-game interview? And he's just ripping jokes and he was like, you can talk to me, they just won't let me. He's like, I would, but they just won't let me. I was just he was such levity and lightness, and granted they won, but not much to be proud of in that game. So I was so amused by him.
Yeah.
And then, just the different shticks he's shown up to games in, the cowboy boots and he's funny. Boy, does he not take himself seriously.
Yeah.
And it's contagious. The whole Colts locker room felt very relaxed and cool.
Last segment.
Yeah.
Start, bench, cut.
Okay.
I'm
This
gonna.
is a difficult one for you. I'm not gonna lie.
This is gonna be challenging. This is
The last
definitely gonna be
few were
challenging. So,
This one's gonna be difficult.
so we're gonna choose who you're gonna start, who you're gonna bench, and who you're gonna cut from a list
Okay.
of 3 players.
Okay.
You ready?
Are you ready for your first one?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen? Remember, I'm an Eagles fan.
I remember. I'm starting Lamar. I think Lamar is cold.
He is.
Yeah.
I will give you that.
I love me some Lamar Jackson. I'm going to start Lamar. I'm going to bench Jalen.
He's still in the room.
Yeah,
still
and then but it's tough after the Bills just won last night.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily the Josh Allen show, so I'm going to have to cut Josh Allen. God, what world is this?
Haven't you had some interactions with Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
in terms of interviews?
Yeah, so I interviewed him in college. I covered college football for forever in the States, and his Heisman year, and he was at Louisville, and he was amazing. And then I interviewed him here at Tottenham when they played just this past season, and I tweeted it out, a picture before and after, and I think it was 6 years apart. And but what I remember from both interactions is when you're on the field, about to do that post-game interview, the booth is still talking. And so I'll tell my producer, okay, I got him, let's go. And, they're trying to get in the locker room,
Yeah.
Both times I remember being sorry, Lamar, just 1 second. They're wrapping up a segment, and then they're going to come down to us. And he's like, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
So both times, 6 years apart, as, a broke college kid, we all were. And then now what was his last contract? I'm like, money is time to this man. He's got places to go. And he just was the exact same person and could not have been nicer. And since I was trying to kill some time and try to keep him there, because at any moment, he can run off. And I'm like, you won't remember me at all, but I interviewed you at Louisville and stuff, blah, blah. And I said, and I have a picture of it somewhere. And I said, I'll have to dig it out. And at the end of the interview, he said, make sure you tweet me that picture. On TV. I'm like, that was cool. That was
It
really
must be
cool.
a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing
Yeah.
back then and interviewing him then and then
Right.
interviewing him on the field even talking.
Yes. Yeah. No, he is the definition, humble, kind, cool. He's just a kid. He's amazing.
What was the hype like around him in college?
Oh, it was crazy because there was really nothing like him yet. I mean, everyone's like, well, should he just play running back? He's so
Yeah.
good on his feet, but he
Yeah.
was skinny, and then he put on weight, and And he was at Louisville, which wasn't like a powerhouse. And in fact, the game I interviewed him at was at Kentucky, so that was like a bigger name. But they're in-state rivals. And Louisville was just on a tear. Again, he was winning the Heisman that season. So yeah, there was a lot of hype around him because no one had quite seen anything like him. Like this quarterback who could play running back probably and be the best in the country at running back, but was the best quarterback in the country. So yeah, that was like, it changed college football. It opened the door for other quarterbacks to do the same.
Yeah, because there was a huge debate about whether to draft him even as a quarterback full
Right.
stop.
And they were like, well, he'll get hurt. He's skinny. And, yeah.
And then MVP and huge
Right.
contract later. He's proven
Yes.
them wrong.
He's
And then
With his mom
everybody
as his
wrong.
agent.
exactly.
Yeah.
Keeping it in the family. That's the
gotta
best
love
part.
it. You
That's
gotta
the best
love
part.
it. Yeah.
Okay, next up. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
Oh,
or
man,
the
well,
Cheetah.
Yeah, or the cheetah. Oh yeah, there's 3. Okay. Okay, definitely cheetah. Tyreek Hill is my starter. He's gonna be the first receiver to eclipse 2,000 yards. Like he's on pace to do so. He leads league right now. He's unstoppable, and he's on the perfect team to do it. Like I was a Chiefs fan. I was sad to see him go. Everyone was like, oh, well, without Tyreek, what's Patrick Mahomes going to be? And they win a Super Bowl right when he leaves. So it's good for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. But Tyreek has flourished in Miami. So couldn't be happier for him. That's got to be your starter. He's the best in the league. But based on who you're giving me, I've got to bench Justin Jefferson.
And cut
You're
Jamar
going to
Chase.
cut Jamar Chase?
I am.
I'd agree with that.
How do you switch those two?
Yeah, that's splitting hairs.
Right, so your next one is Jalen Ramsey, Pat Surtain, or Sauce Gardner.
Who are you backing to go one-on-one, best
Okay.
on best? Who's going to take the man out of the game?
I guess I'm going to take Ramsey in that scenario. And especially when he came back this season, he made all the difference
Huge
in the
impact.
world. Okay, I'm starting Ramsey. I'm benching Surtain, and I'm cutting
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. We
Okay,
haven't
would you
given you any
disagree with
easy
that
ones.
order?
I know, yeah, none of them are easy.
Yeah.
I might have kept Sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have kept the sauce. I'm not going to lie. I might
Yeah.
have kept the sauce. And then cut Satan. But
But then maybe I'm going more with vets.
That's
Sauce is still so
true.
young.
I know, but defensive rookie of the year, that's not to be shied away
No,
from.
it's not. It's not.
Okay, last one.
Okay. Oh, we're not
Running
done
backs.
yet.
Running backs.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson.
I'm cutting Derrick Henry.
Okay. Is that recent form or legacy?
Recent form. It's just, this isn't his season. Like, it's just not coming together. And it's a shame on that whole team, too. When you look at, like, D-Hop, like, you've got these guys with their... It's funny, like, in the NFL, we're like, they're old. They're like, what, 30?
Yeah,
32?
if that, yeah.
Yeah. This isn't it. And I felt bad. There was so much hype when the Titans came here. Like, you're like, oh, Derrick Henry. And
He did break off a big run, though.
he had, like, one big run. No, and it's just kind of sad to watch the Titans, especially, like, on the road. They're 0-7 on the road. And, like, that's when, if you have these, like, big-name guys, like, that's where they're supposed to perform, and they're not. Okay, so I guess I'm going to cut Derrick Henry. I'm going to bench Bijan Robinson just because he's still young. He's got time. He's got to.
And they need to use him in the right way.
They don't use him in the
They
right
don't
way.
use him at all. I have him in my
What they do, like-
fantasy, and I'm thinking every week, come on,
I know.
please.
No, I know. The play calling is just pass, especially last night. And then I'm going to
Start McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm going to start McCaffrey because what he's doing is so unprecedented. It's funny with the 49ers. You could make a case for a couple MVPs on that team. Like, what they're doing is wild. I have him as my Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah.
I don't know about
Oh, you think you're going to see him again? Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarterback
NFC
health
championship.
dependent.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to see that.
What they're doing is so impressive.
And also, you're missing the play caller. The play caller getting
Yep.
everyone involved. That Deebo Samuel 1 yard short.
Yep.
Next play, okay, we'll skim something straight in touchdown.
Like
You
last
can't
night,
compete
McCaffrey
with
had
that.
like a quiet 140, like, and that was like a write-off game. He's insane.
I agree.
Please tell me
I'm in
that's
agreement.
it.
I'm in agreement with
Yeah,
all of it.
that-
Yeah.
that's it.
Start
We're not-
bench
we're
cut.
not-
It's a
That's it.
hard game.
That's it. Yeah.
It's
Like,
a really
I feel
hard
like-
game.
You've done really well. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Put you to work.
I
Put
would
you
have
to work.
struggled on a lot of those and been like, I can't answer. So you actually answered. I'd have been like, yeah, next.
Yeah.
Next,
I didn't know next was an option. I would have said
It wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
So I told you at the end.
Okay.
But thanks for coming on the show. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, you've been amazing. Like,
you.
it's been such a pleasure having you on here. It's been so easy to just talk to you.
Yeah.
Just talk about football.
And good luck making history on February 11th.
Yeah.